How's it going, everyone? It's been a little bit, but I'm back now. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, haven't really gotten too much further than I wanted to be. So some of these pages you'll probably remember from the previous stream. Um, but yeah, it's been a while though, right? Um, did the previous stream, and then I kind of got busy. Then I got sick. Had the stomach virus for a bit. Lasted probably for a little more than a week. And I fell behind on some things that I wanted to work on, obviously, because it wasn't just me that got sick. It was also like everyone in my home who got sick. So I had to take care of sick kids, and then I got sick. And then lastly, my wife got sick. So it was not fun. But back now, and kind of made some progress on this page that I was working on last time, where I kind of wanted to add more to the chapter because I didn't feel like the transition from this scene to the next scene felt natural enough. So I went ahead and just popped in 2 more pages to kind of make it feel more natural as it was happening. But yeah, actually really warm in here. I don't need this one high right now. Put that on low. But yeah, I know what this needs, so I'm just gonna sketch in. This is layers that. Alright, so I'm gonna sketch in some background ideas for this page because I know I definitely want to include the floor in the second panel and probably some more movement in the third panel. Well, actually, third panel and fourth panel. So that's what I want to do. I know I wanted to have a sound effect here as well. So that's what I'll include. Okay. I've been recently, actually, there's this book I've been checking out a little bit. Um, so I'm waiting to get my hands on some of this person's work. So, a while ago, I had spoken to Brian Stelfreeze, when I was at Comic Con one year, and he was teaching me about checking out some artists that don't render as much. And at that time, I was just locked in on, I guess, those type of artists. Um, and I went home, I did some research and found that there was a ton of artists who didn't focus mainly on rendering things, in their art, but mainly on just storytelling in general through sequential pages. Which I've seen this before. I just didn't pay attention to it because it felt like most people who wanted to do pencil art for comics, if they wanted to sell their pages afterwards, usually they, how do you make it, I guess, quote unquote, more um, worthwhile for the person buying it? And I guess one of those ways seemed to me to be rendering things. So, even when you start looking at manga or something like that, for the most part, what I see is they do end up using hatching or cross hatching on a lot of the forms, and it's not just for texture's sake. They actually do render some things here and there. Um, so basically, um, I went ahead and started doing my research on that, and I found a bunch of artists who I thought were pretty cool, but not all of them had like the complete package of like someone I thought like was completely um what is it called, aesthetically pleasing to like my sensibilities, along with like having some art that I feel like could like really sell. But I knew that the story was the thing that sold it. So I went ahead and did my research, and I eventually ran into artwork from Darwin Cook, and I started studying him and learning, checking out his work, and I finally was able to get a physical copy of his work recently. I bought the DC Compact Edition of it's called Catwoman, Trial of the Catwoman. Um, it seems to be a pretty decently sized book. It's a smaller format than the usual comic book size. It's in full color. Pages feel nice. Um, and I feel like his style kind of lends itself to a smaller format anyway, because again, he does like big shapes, very readable art style, and yeah, even when you make it smaller, his art still reads very well. So I'm kind of going for that type of thing as well. So I've been reading and learning from some of his art, trying to learn and add some of these techniques to what I'm trying to do. But yeah, I've checked out like chapter one so far, and I like it. It has a nice, easy to get into feel to it. I like how the narration works in there as well. Um, yeah, it's just been a really good experience. I also want to check out a physical of what is it called, the New Frontier. They're planning to do that one, I think, next year, maybe close to the end of the year. But I definitely wanna cop one of those. I think you can only find like the New Frontier for around like $35 right now, at like the cheapest or something like that. So if they end up doing a DC Compact Edition for that one, I definitely want to get that. Um, because it'll be like $10, and that's a steal. Also, the book looks nice. Like, it's not just completely thrown together and nothing. It's very manga coded, honestly. The spine has a little picture of Catwoman on it. Very minimal approach to things. It's not a bunch of words all over the spine. It's like got some good imagery there. I like how the cover art is actually, well, it's a cover by Darwin Cook, but I flipped through. I was about to say scrolled. I flipped through the book a little bit and found the panel that this cover art is taken from, and I'm like, that's really cool. Actually, they just used a colored panel from the actual comic book as the cover. That's great. Um, and also they've got some really nice artwork on the back as well. I dare say that the artwork on the back looks way better than the cover. But maybe I don't know why they wouldn't use this as a cover. But I guess it's more like since you're seeing what the actual book um, You're seeing the original artist who did most of these pages, if not all these pages in this book. That's a plus on the cover. Number two, the artwork that's on the cover is literally a crop panel from the actual interior of the comic, which means it's more, what is it called? It's more consistent with what you will see inside the book. And then the back is like, you know, if you want to see like this person at like a higher level of artistry doing the same character in reference to this book, you get to see that, and that looks amazing. Um, so I definitely appreciate all of it. They've got good, useful information. Tell you it's the DC Compact Edition on the front. It has an adventure category right there, so you know obviously which genre it is, um, or you know what you're getting yourself into. And obviously it's Catwoman. If you're not familiar with her, you can kind of get the gist of the type of thing she's up to from the cover. You know, they did a good job. This is what I'm saying. They did a good job. This is $10. I bought it offline off Amazon, and I've been checking it out. No, let me get back to doing this. I gotta throw down some ideas of what I want to kind of be here. It's like a training montage or a workout montage. Kind of was inspired by like, I think I was scrolling on Facebook or something, and I recalled seeing some Jackie Chan movie where him and this dude like they woke up in the morning and then they started working out, started training, and then I assumed they went on the mission because I don't think I ever saw that movie, but I like the idea. Um, because I do like martial arts films, or I used to. I don't watch them as often anymore, but I'm pretty sure like there's so many ideas from like my childhood that like are baked into this story, um, and I'm trying to find a way to just showcase them in places where they actually work well, like narratively, because I can't do everything at one time. So I think I'm gonna do something where I want to have it where so like the shadow here should be a little light underneath his arm there. Right, he likes some sweat here. I always liked the way Takahiko Inoue did sweat eventually on like Slam Dunk, but I've never studied it to replicate it much. Like I kind of remember it, kind kind of remember it. All right, I think I wanted to do also some sort of movement here as well to showcase just kind of like what this movement is. So works. Don't need to do too much with the floor because we're kind of, what is it called? Level with it to some degree. I think I might have some sort of dialogue or counting here from characters. And I should probably also have maybe some speed lines. Not speed lines, what do we want to call these? Actually, no. They're speed lines. Kind of, sort of. Alright, that's cool. Bunch of ideas there. And as far as the floor goes, what do we want? So I have, let me save. I am a consistent, I save a lot, right? I know Clip Studio actually crashes for some individuals, some people, and if it ever happens to me, that'll suck. It's happened like so randomly when it does happen, but it doesn't crash with me often at all. But I don't know, ever since having like a PlayStation or something, and you know when it's like, yo, autosave, I never trust the autosave. I always save right after the autosave anyway, because I don't trust where it saved me. I want to save it in a specific place, specific time. So I'm always saving quickly. So I'm always trying to like get a certain amount of details down, and then I'll just quickly go and save, and I'll just do it again, so I don't lose tons of progress. It's just hard not to do it for me. I never feel safe. I think Procreate's cool though, but Procreate has actually crashed on me before. Like, Procreate has probably crashed on me more than Clip. And I think the weird part was, the thing that really made me disappointed, was I thought that like Procreate always would save the progress that I would do. And then one day when Procreate crashed, it didn't have all the progress. And I was like, wait a minute. What happened? Like, this is why I liked you. Like, if you're not going to remember the stuff that I've done, I don't think I want to even use this program. So, I had to get out of there. I had to go do something else. I eventually checked it out again, but I never used Procreate seriously. It's always to doodle for me. I'm thinking I'll have this will be like one of these, and then this one will be black here. It's actually not a good representation of what I want there. actually try some of that now. Why not? Nope. Unless I turn on the area scaling more. I don't think I want to. Of course, okay. Okay. I think I might be able to just highlight these and just fill them in. Wow. That's fine. Okay, cool. I like the way that looks. I don't necessarily need too much here though. I think it works already. Everything else is panel 3 and 4. And there's a bunch of good ideas there. Why will that turn out like that? Oh, there must be something above it that... Wait a minute. Nope. Aha. Okay. Decent ideas right there. Now I'm getting kind of drawing the background details here, so I'm gonna try and figure that part out. I have sketches to work from, and also previous drawing from, what was it, the beginning of volume 2? Which means we get some dents in the wall and such. There should be a door over here. Nothing too crazy, but just enough. Alright, cool. I have something to kind of work from. I can come back to that. It's also working over here. Wasn't really happy too much with some of the faces yet, so I'm slowly building on this. I think the bottom right panel looks the most interesting. As far as right now, anyway. Something here feels a little off. I think it's a little better. I think the whole like indie manga scene thing has been pretty interesting to watch in the US, in the West or whatever. It's been nice to see a lot more people get involved. Things have kind of started to kind of go. Um, Viz Media, or I guess Jump, is making a big push to some degree. They got their what is it called? Manga Plus Creators thing going, which honestly I don't know the complete legitimacy of that program, but it's interesting to see so many people participate, kind of join in and try and go after whatever rewards they kind of line up for you in there. What's not known to some degree is like how to take what you make and kind of get it to be a serialized work from that point. I mean, if you say that the goal is like popularity, that's like, it's like, okay, there are some people who are already popular who join that thing, and it makes you wonder like how much more are you trying to get? You know, what's the actual goalpost? So things are a little bit elusive there, but it's still nice that they offer it. Still nice that things are getting a lot of attention over there. Don't know if anything's gonna become of anything over there though. Viz Media is doing like their one shot program, which a lot of people, again, oh, I don't even know if it's a lot. They supposedly get like 100 people a month who want to make one. And recently, I just saw, I don't know the person's name, I don't recall, but I just saw that someone has done two now. Two of these one shots for Viz Media's one shot program. Um, it's just really cool. I kind of think the real cool part is like, I just want to see more people participate because I want them to kind of try and, I guess, tell a more unique, personalized story instead of something so commercially viable. Um, or at least have a good amount of personal, you know, stuff in there. Because I feel like if you make something a little bit too commercially viable when you only thinking about it that way, you're gonna end up just kind of making somewhat the same thing eventually. That something, something already exists. And it's cool to have like a mix on something or like a twist. But I also think like if you can make it a little bit more personal to your own experience, I still think that's valid and more like just as interesting as anything else. But I'm just interested in seeing where it all goes. Oh, but yeah, they're not even the only ones. But yeah, just recap. So I got always. Um, what was it? You got Viz Media. You got obviously Shueisha, as far as Jump goes, doing manga plus creators. Silent Manga has been doing some dope stuff. They finally put out like a how to submit your work thing, like where it's like step by step. You know, if you're using Clip Studio, here's how you can do it. And I've always wanted that. Um, I don't know. Clip Studio has been on the market in the West for a long time now, I think, and even before it was named Clip Studio, we've had that program. So it's nice that this international contest provider is going out their way to be like, okay, we're going to show you how you can do it with this very popular software that a lot of people use. So it's nice. Only thing that would make it even more, easy would if they were like, okay, here's a document that you can just download off the site that's like in a certain format that's already like ready to be like print ready and all this good stuff. Because I feel like that's just as important. Um, if you draw your comic and it's good or whatever, um, and it wins or something, it's like, all right, that's cool. But like if it's not like perfectly formatted, you just you don't get to be put in that conversation because you didn't do all the all the contest rules correctly. So they won't even put you in there for consideration. So it's just something also to worry about or pay attention to. But that's cool. And also, Silent Manga has probably more contests than like anything else that I've seen. So it's another thing to check out. But honestly, I think the real big thing to me is like, with all this energy going into these like manga style comics or whatever, and all the attention things are getting, I just hope that what's really happening is people are becoming more interested in reading comics in general. Reading independent comics. And I think the only thing that's missing is like, the only thing that's missing from this whole equation to me is having a service that goes out its way to promote independent comics. Because if you had that, there'd be no reason to even think about necessarily doing stuff for the industry. Not that the industry is, wholeheartedly evil or bad or anything like that. But you lose a bit of control, as you know, when you work for the industry. If you work for yourself and you create your own stories, you kind of work for yourself and you work for your fan base. You kind of make what you want to make, and if your fan base like that, they kind of rock with you until you do something that they don't like, and then they dip, they leave, and that don't mean you should necessarily change it, but you should pay attention to that. But anyway, I just think that I wonder if the indie comic scene could be strengthened a bit more. I think Kickstarter is cool, but I also have seen people do a Kickstarter for a project and then like after book one never go back to it. And that's cool too, because it's up to them to figure out if they want to do what they want to do. But to like a fan base looking for something to buy into, something to like stay into, it kind of sucks because probably bought into that book's project not just for book one, but also the potential for two books or more. A finished story. Am I multi-streaming? Yes, I am. I'm on Twitch as well. And how's it going, Bones? But yeah, I just think I don't know. I'm excited for like the indie scene of like comics. people want to do their manga style, or manga influence comics, kind of like what I do. That's awesome. Um, can you garner like the fan base, the people who are interested in that thing? Can you get them over there to just check it out, read it? It might be good. Not everything we read at first is like a masterpiece. So that's why I'm always just like, if you make something good, just try to keep it. Let's try to keep going with just making it at least good as you can. Because if you can get people from book one into book two, you'll probably really have grown from book one to book two. You probably really have improved on your storytelling and whatnot. I feel like a lot of people give certain people second chances or whatever it is. Like people will. I feel like if you start off with a book one and you say, okay, it wasn't that great artistically or something was off with it, but like it was worth the journey as far as like seeing where the characters are gonna end up later. That's great because you can only get better if you just stick to the plan of like what you set out to do in the first book. If you set it up where you give them like a mission start, and you kind of set it up and the narrative goes, and then you get them to whatever stage it is that the person who was reading is like, okay, I see what the writer's doing here. Okay, let's see how they do this situation. If they do it in like a really boring way or cliche way with no twists, I might drop the book. As we often know, it could be like that from a movie you watch, a book you read, novel, anything. But if it's like decent and they see what you're trying to do and they go, oh, like the writer or the artist or whoever, the creator, is actually trying to go down a certain path, I want to see how far they push this character or push the scenario. That's awesome because all you got to do is follow through with what you're trying to do with your character. And if they really like with it, then they're gonna be like, okay, let's see what happens after book one into book two. You're like, all right, book one was like 200 pages. Book two is another 200 pages. That's 400. You about to grow. You get more experience every page you do, every character you have to draw, every scenario you can think of. That's all the different setups, all the different twists you can write that you want to have in your book one. All of that is like practice for the things that's going to come later. You want to do your best, but also know that like this ain't going to be this isn't going to be the last crowd scene you draw. This isn't going to be the last cool character design you come up with. This isn't going to be the last whatever it is. And if you just do your best and people see that you're trying, I feel like they'll be able to give you another chance as far as just sticking with what you're making. Do I have a favorite series? I have two favorite series, and it's hard for me to just say one. My first main series I would say would be favorite series would be Akira, which is old and probably sounds like a cliche answer or something, but like, nah, I'm 30 plus, and I've kind of seen Akira when I was really young, and I always thought that Akira was just an anime, and then I found out like when I was in college that it was a manga as well, and I said, okay, well I already saw the anime, so I'm good. And then I found out that it deviated from the anime a lot, and I said, what? There's more to the story? Like it doesn't just end the way it ended in that movie? And it was like, no. In fact, it's much longer than anything they could have fit in that film. And when I found that out and started reading it, I was like, this is amazing. This is way different from, what we got in that movie. That movie was, how people say like anime is like an advertisement for like the comic type thing. That's legit what that movie was, because the concepts in the books so much further than what they got to do in the anime. So, but it's also, it's amazing, animation and everything else. And my other favorite series is One Piece. And it's just has so much world building. It's pretty nice characters. really knows. That guy who writes that series, who draws that series, knows how to build moments. You know, it's filled with moments, and it's a completely different thing from, like, obviously Akira. Akira was written by Otomo, and he often would state like, oh, he doesn't really like long series because he feels like, you could do a lot with less, which is funny because when you really think about the page count of like Akira in the book form, we're still talking about thousands of pages, right? Each one of these books that he tried to put out were like 500 pages each, and there's 6 books. So you're still talking about thousands of pages, you know. Yeah, fuck with One Piece. I'm watching it. Episode 700 or something. Nice. And it's great. I think that if you're a fan of like comics, whatever, I think that anime, despite how good it is, I think you get a whole different appreciation for the person writing it and drawing it when you actually see how consistent their enthusiasm is throughout drawing that comic every, all the weeks that they did. And it's still not done yet, and I'm telling you, like, the art don't really take a back seat when it comes to, like, no, you can like look at someone's art and be like, oh, they kind of, it's not even about like they phoned that in, but it's more like, oh, they wasn't really like enjoying drawing that, so things kind of look stiff. Like the art, the line work, all of that stuff is missing energy. That dude seemed like he enjoyed every moment of drawing that comic. And I'm not, we're not talking about like some super technical work, right? We're not talking about like a Inoue who draws Vagabond or Slam Dunk, or like something like a Miura who draws like Berserk. We're talking about someone whose stuff is just filled with energy. It's dude stays enthusiastic, and that's really nice about seeing his art. Yeah, bro, I would have told his assistants to be ready to dance. Yeah, that's different. I remember reading that, and I was like, that's not a good thing to say, but I think I understand it. I think the person who joined their team, it was an editor. He thought he was about to get a free ride or something because One Piece was so popular or something. And he was like, "Nah, bro. Like, it's not a free ride. You're going to have to work for this. Like, you knew, I understand you knew, and we're going to tell you what it is over here. This is my headcanon, right?" And he probably was just like, nah, we understand that like One Piece is making a bajillion dollars, and you just got hired, so you already know you gonna get paid. But like, this is all I do. This is all we do. And we're gonna make this the best experience for the readers, because without them we don't have anything. This is my headcanon from the translations of what that was. So he was just trying to tell him how it was. He was just like, yo, you're not the first editor I had. There's other editors I've worked with, it's cool, but like, there's a lot of story to tell, and that's all he do. Oh wow. Let's see, hello, I am the help man. I help the artist channels with some. All right. What's going on with subscribers, people? Is this some sort of bot? That's interesting. Also fuck with the One Punch Man, because the illustrator Yusuke Murata is goated. So his drawings are so full of energy. Man, I love Yusuke Murata's art style and everything, but I don't like. There's something I don't like, right? And it's like I understand it. I'm trying to get to it, right? It's basically like, I remember when, I was checking out Yusuke Murata's stuff, and at some point it became infectious. Like, not for me, but for like a lot of people looking at it. They were like, I love this person's stuff so much, I have to emulate it. And they just started on everything that Yusuke Murata was trying to do, And the thing that was crazy to me was like seeing people rip off whole entire panel structures, whole entire sequences. And I was just like, yo, that's not cool. Like, it's cool to be like, yo, I want to draw like Yusuke Murata. Okay, cool. Um, I want to be inspired by Yusuke Murata. Okay, cool. I want to try out some techniques by this person. All right, cool. But when you say, yo, he has a character who has a sword and he's fighting a guy who is making up something, has a hammer, and I too have now made a character with a sword and a hammer. Now when they fight, I'm just gonna use the exact panels, the exact moves that he used in his fight scene to do my fight scene. To the point where as though they basically damn near match up. Like I didn't change anything. I'm using the exact panel structure and everything. And I'm just like, yo, that's real lazy, man. Like, I don't like that. But yeah, I like Yusuke Murata stuff a lot. I think I like how he plays with speed and movement and stuff like eye shield. He also has a really good eye for when he where he wants to put reflections and stuff like that. He plays with that a lot. Um and I think that his art style is just it's an amalgamation of like Capcom art from back in the day, like Bingus and Kinya Nishimura. Like he's definitely a Capcom head. I definitely see that. And also a person who like studied like shonen like definitely around the Toriyama era. So that's kind of how I look at his work. I see him like influenced by like Capcom, which are actually influenced by Toriyama also. And then him going into the Toriyama stuff as far as like learning the paneling structures, the way he draws like the way he basically does movement and energy and action and stuff like that, combined with how Capcom designs characters and stuff like that, like how their anatomy is drawn and all of that cool stuff. I feel like he absorbed all of that and he gives us some amazing work. Um, I definitely like his stuff without tone on it. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Every time there's this comic, there's this fight I wanted to check out where he had Flashy Flash versus these two ninjas, and I thought that that was like the coolest fight of that year. Because if you really go check it out and really take into consideration that whole fight, including the ending, and really think about what just happened at the end of that fight, you realize how he's playing with speed in that fight. Not the character, no, not Flashy Flash, but literally speed. And when I got the traditional, the physical comic, I realized that the tones that are being used sometimes that go from digital into the physical book were too dark. There's a lot of stuff that's not as readable when it would get printed, and I was like, that's kind of like something I don't like right there. And I feel like that's something you could definitely plan around, but if you're not thinking about it when you're making it, you're thinking about like it being seen on screens, it works there, but when it gets printed and it's too dark, I don't feel like things are being read, being able to be clearly seen as well as they should. People would just copy what a comic artist does. It's just plagiarism. Yeah, and I feel like there's definitely a way to do it tastefully. Like, you could do like a panel or like two panels. I feel like that's fine because you're trying to obviously, like, you're trying to obviously be like, hey, like, I like these two panels from my favorite artist. I'm going to use them for the specific moment. After that, I did my own thing, but I was trying to do like a tribute type thing to them. I could totally understand that. But when you just say, yo, I'm just going to take like the literal bread and butter of what this sequence is and why it works the way it works, and I'm just going to flat out copy it and just do it. Same sequence. There's just nothing there. What did you add to that? Your characters? Like, what did you add? What did you add to that yourself? You know. Maybe that's just part of my ego talking because I know I don't do that. Um, but it just baffled me to see it. I just was like, it was kind of like I knew what not to do or what I didn't want to do, and it was just like watching people do it. Like, I don't know, it just, I don't like the idea of being lazy with my stuff like that. I understand the concept, I understand saving time, I understand all that, but I don't understand is just outright snatching something that, like, I get it, it works, but like, trying to really verbalize it. It's kind of like, yes, every comic is somebody's first comic, right? So maybe you'll wow somebody with that, whoever that may be. But like, when you start advertising for your comic, somebody definitely noticed that, like, I've read Yusuke Murata stuff before, which is why I clicked on your stuff because maybe I thought you got close to it, like, technique wise or something. They see what you're doing, they like what you're doing, they go, word, like, I see you inspired by it. Let's see what you do with it. And then they see you just copy. They like, that's what you had to add to that. You just wanted to. Ah, all right. I don't think a popular artist could get away with copying the panel structure or poses from another comic. I think nowadays, no, they definitely can't. But I feel like, you know, some people just don't care. You know, I feel like maybe as an artist looking at another artist's work, you see that you just kind of be like, that's kind of distasteful. But I guess if like you get to that point where you got a fan base but you don't have that skill yet and you want to copy someone else's work, you kind of get away with it because like you don't care, you don't give a shit. So you know, see something. All right, heads that way, so I want to move it. Okay, let's move it more here. Something like that. Okay. you draw traditionally, did you have any favorite tools? Um, I actually love inking with like a brush. Um, I would say like more consistently, pencils are cool, but like I actually enjoyed inking things a lot more. Um, it's inking things is so, or putting down, the final line work or whatever you want to call it. Um, it feels relaxing and also chaotic because like there's a lot you can't predict, even with a tool that you get like comfortable with. And the reason why I'm bringing up like the brush pen itself is because like you can try your best to master that tool, but like you're always gonna get some lines that they just don't come out the way you want them to. So you kind of have to work with the tool instead of like trying to force it to do what you want it to do, and that's something about that's just really fun. So yeah, definitely like a brush pen. Brush pens are hard to control. Yeah, and I think something about that is just fun. Like something about just having a tool that kind of like is alive, I guess, right? Like right now I'm on digital, and as if I don't like anything, I can just erase it and just start over. And there's another part where it's like you can't do that traditionally, but you can too. You can just use like whiteout or something, and that's cool. But like something about just that not even being able to know what's gonna come out of the brush, like um the different ways to also hold the tool, right? When you hold a pencil, it's not too special. I mean, no, if you hold a mechanical pencil, so I mean, you hold a mechanical pencil, you use it, you can turn it any way you want to. You're still probably gonna get the same normal consistent line. And the reason why people like to use a mechanical pencil is how consistent it is. But when you use like a brush, man, you might have to hover. You can't put your hand down on the paper because if you do, you're gonna smear it. You know, also, the more you have your hand down, the more you might change the pressure, which means the line is gonna get thick. You know, there's so much extra stuff to it. You can hold it to the side. You can get like a big broad stroke. You can just hold it like a regular pencil. You get a really thin stroke. How quickly you do it, how fast you do it, how much ink that's on the brush. If you're dipping the brush into ink versus if you just have ink cartridge inside of the brush. There's so many little fun things to play with. And if you just got ink, you could dilute the ink a little bit with a bit of water so you can get a wash. It's great, man. It's great. I haven't actually used it in a while, but I actually miss working traditionally. I still practice doing like line work drills and stuff like that. Stuff that I've learned from like free Peter Han videos from 100 bajillion years ago. You know, I kind of live off of those free videos that they put out, them little previews. They be like, hey guys, here's this little thing that I'm putting out for free. And they be like, check out, you know, this course when it drops or whatever. Like you'd be like, all right, yo, practice your circles. And I'd be like, word, I'm broke. I don't have money for that course, but I will be practicing my circles. You right. Thank you for giving me something to work on. And I can just, I can just be like, word, like, and I'm gonna use that to improve. I'm gonna do my best, you know, and I'm gonna practice and practice my circles. Yeah. Um. It's fun. But yeah. try to ink from left to right and avoid accidental smudges. Ink, but it still happens. Yeah, that's a whole thing, right? Like, let's see here, left to right. Yeah, left to right, because you're right-handed, I believe, if that's the case, so that you can always kind of work and then like keep your hand on the other side, so you can also see where you're inking as well. So you see the line you're making and kind of go off to the other side of it. Um, what else? I like to use, what is the ink I bought? Oh, I I think it's a black fluid acrylic, I believe. I have it downstairs. I don't remember the name of it, but dang, what is the name of it? It's like this. I basically started using like this big. It's like paint. It's just like paint. It's like a fluid form. You can like pop it into or have it dipped into, and basically when it dries, it gets, it hardens or whatever, and it's permanent, and it dries quickly after like touching the air a certain amount or whatever. So that's great. Yeah, acrylics are amazing. Yeah, and they're really matte. Um, but yeah, um, I also got that from Stelfreeze. If you don't know who that is, look them up. Brian Stelfreeze. I feel like Stelfreeze, when it comes to like being in comics, I feel like a lot of younger individuals might not know who they are. Like you might know them from like the new Black Panther run that came out around like, what was it, 2019, which kind of helped inspire some of the direction they went into with the Black Panther film. But other than that, he kind of, yeah, I don't think he does a lot of like work like that other than like covers. But I would love to see him do more interior work. Um, he's really good at inking. He's really good at storytelling, and his covers are really nice as well. I don't actually know what he's up to right now, but when I speak to him at like Comic Con and stuff like that, he always gives out great advice. It's great to learn from. Got India and acrylic ink from Speedball. It's goated. Oh yeah, I have a big bottle of that too. That's also great because it's so. Dang, what I want to say. It's so. Hmm. It's great for like what are they called? Like G pens. What are those? The dip pens, like a Hunt 102 and stuff like that. It doesn't really clog your pen up like other inks seem to when you don't take care of the that process well. It's really nice. Got a 32 ounce bottle. Yeah, that's great. I think I want to ink more work. I still find it really dope, but I think the thing that I learned like really late in life was like, I remember I tried to like ink stuff when I was younger, and I just thought I was so cool because I'd be like, "Yo, look, like I really inked this line like really well," and then I found out like, yeah, but like, what did you add to it? And I was like, huh? Which is to say, you know, a lot of inkers, they add something to that person's work. It's not just going one to one, because a lot of the best pencilers work with really good inkers who know how to look at their lines and kind of interpret it a certain way, and that gives them their unique style of how they ink people as individuals. They have their own way to kind of see what you're doing and go, how can I enhance it, type thing. Which I didn't get when I was like in high school, but now I'm a lot older. I'm like, oh no, I kind of get it. Kind of gotta have your own idea for what you think it should be overall, and then kind of hit that line a certain way. my favorite things to notice is like when you see an artist that everyone says, "Oh my God, that guy can draw," or "that person can draw really well," or really detailed work, and then you start realizing like that they don't detail everything, and then you go, So which stuff do they detail and which stuff do they don't, and like when do they detail it and when do they not detail it, you know? And I swear, because I don't have a book around me right now. I mean, I have one. Like, wait a minute, it's right here on the table. um, I would see like these really detailed drawings of like characters from Akira, and then I would also notice that sometimes during close-ups, he would kind of do like this. I wouldn't call it a cheat, but he would just kind of indicate the shape of the nose instead of telling you like more intricate details of the nose. So that was cool because it means that like it's like little stuff that I noticed like that where I'm like these people are on a different level when it comes to breaking down, why a picture works the way it works. Um, I think it's just cool. Sometimes you get a really detailed nose. Other times you get like, oh, is the nose, yeah, like in an upward shape? All right, well, you're gonna get this, you know, because that's all you need, and now you know what position the nose is in. But like, you know, if it's like a downward position, they might add like hatching to the nose and be just like, okay, now like here's some shadow next to the nose or whatever. It's little stuff I noticed like that. Like, okay, well, like when do they choose to do that? Because what you're doing is kind of like saving your own time. You're basically saying like the camera cannot discern that detail right now because it's not important. Um, and you obviously are like that's not the focal point of the picture right now. So you're like, nah, I can just kind of indicate a little shape, a little line. But then you always notice when things get to like medium, like they're like medium length. What is it called? If it's shot from like a medium lens, right, and they're like a certain amount close to the lens, or if it's like a close up shot, that's when you get all your extra details. That's when you get all of that. When they're like a little further away from that camera and they're like smaller and pushed back, there ain't no reason to even try to give people extra detail like that because their work is always going to be shrunk down. So people aren't even going to be able to see it. And these Akira volumes are printed huge. Yeah, when you have the fundamentals mastered, you can omit details without making it look wrong. Yep. I think the other funny thing is like there's also some things that even if you draw them correctly, if you pick the wrong angle, they'll always look wrong. Man. The things I've learned, man. So crazy. Yeah, I know that head looks a bit off there. I'll come back to it. I also don't like this hand here. It feels way too big, so let's go ahead and grab that. Yeah, it's probably just a hand. Wait a minute, which thing is this? It's a bit better. don't mind that. Oh, cool. Alright, Bones, and everyone else maybe lurking on the stream. I'm gonna get ready to head out. Thanks so much for coming by. If you like what you see, definitely subscribe. I'll be streaming again next Tuesday, I believe. Um, and I will definitely be a lot further along since I'm not sick any longer. So be sure to check that out. If you're interested in the comic, definitely check the links below in the description. The comic I'm working on is called The Divinity. It's a shonen inspired manga comic that is definitely read from right to left, and it has a lot of action and adventure themes in it. So definitely check that out and see if you like it. And if you do, awesome. Appreciate it. I'll talk to everyone in the next one. Peace.